like I should say congratulations. Is that like the wrong thing to say? I mean, now
No,
that
we'll
now
take that. That's a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
We're glad
Now-
it made people happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in show business, so we're used to hearing much worse things. So thank you. Yeah.
I feel like I kind of want to start a little bit at the beginning of the process. And I'm curious, when it came to kind of figuring things out in terms of the song itself, like, did the two of you have, did you kind of pitch it to Marvel, or was it more that they approached you with, this is the idea we want, how can you make it happen?
They came to us. Mark had met Kevin at an event at the Academy Awards 2 years ago when we were nominated for Mary Poppins, and so
Mary Poppins Returns.
Yeah, sorry, and he
Mary Poppins, we would be 97 years old.
So they started a sort of a relationship, and then Kevin. Someone had pitched this to Kevin, and he said that's a great idea. And the next thing we know, he thought, I have the perfect guys to do it. So it all came out.
Yeah, and I do believe that they did think that it should be at the Battle of New York.
Yes.
Maybe I should have done some more research before the interviews to remind myself, but I don't think there were other scenarios and then we chose. I think it was the Battle of New York, and that seemed just right for us. To create like an act one closer. You could definitely imagine the curtain falling on the end, although the great ending that's there on the TV show now with the kind of jazz hands ending is just a lot of fun. And Scott had the idea of starting the song with the idea of Save the City, that it's New Yorkers imploring the Avengers to come and help, because who else but the Avengers could deal with what was going on.
And we were also in the middle of the worst part of the pandemic when New York was hit the hardest when we were writing it. So that became the idea of someone please save the city became part of that cry.
Yeah, it was that time when, New Yorkers were opening their windows every night at 7 p.m. and banging pots and pans to say thank you to, all the frontline workers. And so that's definitely
masks, gloves, and we started work.
Yes.
I feel like
we actually write this whole song over Zoom. I can't remember.
We had to write it over Zoom. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I was curious too if there had ever been a conversation about potentially setting the song somewhere else in the MCU, but you Mark answered my question perfectly. I'm sure fans would have been curious if it had been more than one song, like seeing a potential, first Avengers, set tune or something along those lines.
Or how they met, yeah. And
also, but Captain America is he's got such a beautiful story because it goes back to the 40s and things like that. So yeah, it could have been a whole.
What was the process behind getting some big Broadway folks involved? Because Adam's obviously singing pretty heavily on the track. So was that a little bit more of like we're going to sneakily bring people in, keep everything under wraps?
It was really just
who can sing it?
Yeah, I can't sing. I found myself writing music that I can't sing.
We wrote a verse and a chorus, and then before we continued with the rest of the song, we wanted to make sure it was the right direction. So the only person who could do vocally adapt to it was
Adam Pascal. I mean, he came to mind. Adam, who I had met him I think once really in passing, but I texted our mutual friend Seth Rudetsky, who had done a whole Broadway show with him. I said, can you give me Adam Pascal's phone number? I'm going to text him to see can he belt a B flat or a B and hang on to it? And Seth was like, are you crazy? He can literally hit any note and hang on to it with or without vibrato, whichever you want. So I texted Adam Pascal out of the blue and said, it's Mark and Scott, and they've asked us to write a song that's basically like the Avengers musical. And would you? And before I could even finish the question, he just texted yes. And he was at home, as everyone was, and a lot of singers or performers at that point had all gotten their own microphones at home to try to continue to work as little or as much as was possible at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam and then another friend named Ty Taylor, who I had only just sort of met. Those are the first two guys I texted, who the only guys I knew who could possibly hit all these notes and sing with that kind of theatrical rock and roll style. And they sang the whole song and demoed it. And those vocals that they recorded in their home are the vocals that are on the recording. They're even a little distorted here and there, but we didn't want to kind of like try to capture lightning in a bottle twice. We so loved what they had sung. And luckily they got to be in the actual number in the filming. And there are a lot of other Broadway names who are only the voices of the Avengers. Because of COVID, they couldn't bring a whole bunch of people. Flying people in was very, they just couldn't do it with everyone. So it's very old school movie musicals where the people on screen singing, that's not really their voices. I don't want to crush anyone's bubble, burst anyone's bubble, but it's phenomenal singers like Rory Donovan, Christopher Sieber, Derek Klena,
Shayna
Steele, and Bonnie Milligan. I mean, phenomenal singers, every single one of them. And we were also thrilled to be doing it, but we couldn't tell anybody.
Right.
Half a year of hanging on to this. So it was so thrilling when they finally put the song, that little bit in that first trailer. And then to see the reaction of Marvel fans to it was just so thrilling. It was thrilling.
Yeah. I got my favorite compliment I've ever gotten was somebody wrote, "It slaps." So I thought that's better than a rave in the New York Times, isn't it?
That's the modern day equivalent, I think.
Yeah.
I would love to know the thought process behind adding Ant-Man to the song for the musical, because was it just purely for the joke of, he wasn't even there, but we're going to stick him in anyway kind of thing?
Yeah, it also makes Clint go, wait a second, they didn't get this right. So, but that was a Marvel request. So that was
a perfect example of the sense of humor they have within the movies. And we also, Scott and I both knew that, that was the main point in this script, was that Clint is dragged to the musical, this Avengers musical, and that he is just rolling his eyes at it going, why am I here? And what is this? This really happened to me. And now they're singing and dancing. And what's Ant-Man doing in this? So that was all part of the script. And we were more than happy to oblige. It's hysterical, that guy dancing as Ant-Man. Really.
I think I have time for one more question, which is, are you both prepared for the possibility that this could become a full musical in real life? And if so, are you ready to come back and do the whole thing?
Yes, we are equal to the challenge. Yes. If only Kevin Feige was on social media, I'd say inundate him with requests. But a lot of people are saying it. So, Marvel works in mysterious ways. We'll see what come from it.
Those are actually all the questions I have, but thank you so much for taking the time to sit and chat. It was a blast, and the song's great. And honestly, I hope we'll get to see a little more Rogers the Musical at some point, because it was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.